Hello, everyone. We are going live today with Maweh. I'm really excited for this series that we have going on where we're talking about motherhood, birthing, conscious parenting, all of the above. And I'm so excited to have her on here with me today. We have been friends online now for quite some time, maybe a few months. So I'm really excited to be able to speak with her today and to be able to share all of her beautiful wisdom, her stories, and her life. So let's get her on here. Hi. How about you request to join, and then I'll accept. Thanks for your patience, guys. Yay, I think it's gonna work now. Yay!
Hey.
It worked. Technology worked here. Amazing. You wouldn't you wouldn't believe how many times it takes on so many interviews that I do where people can't get on or there's something going on with the Wi-Fi. So I'm happy that you are joining us. Yeah, I appreciate
Me
it.
too. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I feel like I've known you for so long. We've only known each other probably for a few months.
I
So
know. And
that's
then in person, it'll be even more different, even more personal, I would say.
yeah, absolutely. I'm going to give a brief to everybody who's just jumping on now. We are doing these live series where we're talking about motherhood, pregnancy, birthing, children, conscious parenting, all of the above. And I'm so excited to have Maweh on here with me today. She is a mother, a conscious parent. She is a raw vegan mama as well. She had birth in the jungle in Brazil, free birthed everything. She's also a musician. I love her music. So you guys will have to take a look at that as well. So thank you for joining us today, guys. Thank you for being here. I think we're gonna have a really fun, enlightening conversation. Two mothers coming together to really share the fact that birth and motherhood can be different. It doesn't have to be what everyone's showing you out there in the world, that it has to be scary and fearful and painful, and not that it can't be hard sometimes, being a mom, but that there are other ways to support the mother. And so I'm so excited to have you on here today.
Thank you. I'm so excited. I'm a little tired, I would say, because it's I know 9 a.m. isn't early for a lot of people, but we go to bed pretty late. So this is usually when I stretch and pray and I'm still in bed.
Okay, I love that. I love that. So
But
does your baby go to bed late too, or is it just kind
yeah.
of like, okay?
No, he has phases. He basically, back when we were in Brazil, he would go to sleep very early because he was also very young. And then in Switzerland, he went to bed around maybe 8, 9, sometimes 10. And now he goes to sleep. He can go to sleep at like 10:30 or 11. I mean, he even once went to bed at 11:30, which was crazy. So, um,
And then do you guys stay up after that, or do you go to bed with him?
No, we go to bed with him. If we have friends over, especially here, since we've been in Thailand, we've met a couple that also takes care of him. So we're like a
Mm.
little, very small community. We call them like the grandparents or like the uncle
Aw,
and the auntie. And he
yeah.
loves them so much. So when they're here sleeping over, we maybe just put him to bed and stay up for maybe like 15 up to 30 minutes, and then we go to bed because we know he's gonna get up early again.
Yeah, I hear
Yeah.
that. Oh my gosh. I have three children, so it's like I mean, they all want to be on top of me still. I have a 10-year-old and she was like, "Mommy, can I sleep with you again?" Like we all have like beds on the floor. You can see we live in a yurt, so we put a bunch of beds on the floor and we all sleep together. So it's
Um,
everyone has to go to bed at the same time, even the 10-year-old to the to the 13-month-old now, but he'll
Yeah.
sleep through mostly anything actually now at this age. But I know when they get
Mhm.
older, it's a little bit harder. They want to be up in the action and like be
Yeah.
around and stuff. So yeah,
For
awesome,
sure.
awesome.
Do you take your beds away in the daytime, or is it always
Yeah.
okay, so you always okay,
Yeah, it's
nice,
very
nice.
Japanese style. We like to bring them
Yeah.
out and then we put them away because I like to have space. I like to be able to like do things and not have my house be like one big bed. You know,
Yeah.
otherwise then they're going in and out of the house with dirty feet and like, the whole nine. And then I'm like, okay, we need to have some structure, a little bit of structure.
Yes.
You know, we don't live like in the jungle, but kind of, we live like surrounded by trees and right next to us is this big forest so we can just walk out. So there's always dirt, there's always leaves, there's always you name it, going on around here. So yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Well, I'd love to jump into kind of your story a little bit. I know we've talked about it before, but just to kind of share about like, did you always want to become a mother? Like how like
Mm.
drop me in from like the beginning. Like, was it when you found your beloved? Like, what happened there?
Ooh, so when I was a very, very little girl, I always dreamed and imagined me having a family of my own to really raise my own children in a healthy way, have a harmonious family dynamic.
Yeah.
And honestly, as a teenager, I had a very dark time in my teenagehood and with like substance abuse and just ignoring the reality just because it was so painful for me. And
Mm.
so I was with certain boys at that time, and none of them seemed like they were, father material or husband
Mm-hmm.
material for me, just because it was just an experience for me. So when I would date these boys, I already knew this is not my husband. I already just, my feeling was like, this is experience for me. I'm not going to marry this guy, but I want to have a love story. So it's so crazy. I don't know, but I just, well, yeah, and I never wanted even to have children at that time as a teenager until I fell in love with a
Mm.
psychopath, which was no, a literal psychopath. He
Really?
was lit a psychopath using black magic. It was really,
Whoa.
really intense. This whole time as I think 18, 19 years old. And that's the first time when I thought, oh, I do want to have children maybe with this person. And,
Mm.
you know, a lot of people believe in like twin flames and soulmates, which I do, and I fully trust and feel that that's a real thing, at least in my life. So for me, I always knew that you meet your false twin flame before your actual twin flame, just so you kind of get prepared almost mentally,
Right.
emotionally, your spiritual body. And that was my false twin flame. And that's why he like kind of activated that, okay, oh, I want to get married, I want to have children, I want to do music, all these things. And when I then met my husband now,
Right.
um yeah, obviously I knew I'm gonna marry this person instantly. I just knew this is the person. I mean, I didn't know when I met him at first, but I knew that when we once we were dating that that was definitely gonna be the
Definitely.
result.
He was it. He was it. That was it. That's amazing. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I definitely feel like I had a lot of pre people that were showing me and preparing me for my husband too. And it was just like, oh my God. Like, you think about it, you look back and you're like, what was I doing? But then like, what was I doing was actually preparing for my husband and like getting those things out. Like, I always say I played out my like I guess you would say my Leo side or this other like aspect of me prior to like getting to him. And then once I went through my own transformation and like found who I was inside and my true self and started harnessing that, then he started coming
Mhm.
in and was like, oh, here's that beautiful reflection that can show us
Yeah.
ourselves and show us that beautiful love. And I love that you're talking about like even twin flame. I have this like kind of fun theory that I feel like when you guys come together, when it's like the right person to like live out your mission here on earth through God and stuff,
Mhm.
is that those flames become one. So
Yeah.
it's like the ignition of the flame. So it's like all of a sudden you come together and then everything ignites, including these beautiful children, you know. And I think they're the ones that are bringing. I know for a fact, I don't know if you felt like this, but I definitely felt like my children, and I know my daughter was talking to me, leading me to my husband, and was like, go here, go
Mhm.
there. And I'm like, what? Okay. Like, did you have that same experience too?
I feel that I never, before my husband, I never consciously connected to my children. So like
Mm,
I knew I wanted children, so it is a subconscious connection, but I wasn't consciously and aware of the connection. But
mm,
I did let myself be like I was led by a power, which is whether it's God or yeah, my spirit babies, which now I'm like, of course, the spirit babies.
yeah.
But they did lead me to Egypt, which was where we fell in
Mm,
love, because I felt so called to go to Egypt, and I felt this very, very strong pull
mm.
to just go to Egypt right now. And that's
Wow.
when I posted it on Instagram, which I would never do. But at the time, I'm like, something, yeah, led me to like just post, okay, who wants to go to Egypt with me? And then he messages me and he's like, well, we're going to Egypt in 4 days. And I'm like, okay, I booked it.
What?
That's it.
So did you know him at that time, or you were just friends on Instagram?
No, we knew each other from music for a year. So it was about a year and 3 months. We knew each other through the music. He was
Okay.
music engineer, producer, and we would, make music together as clients and friends,
Mm-hmm.
like professional friends, I would say. And then actually before Egypt, 2 months before that, we had a date. We had a date that didn't go well because we, triggered a lot of stuff
Yeah.
in each other and saw a bunch of shadows, and we were just pretending to be people that we're not,
Mm-hmm.
this typical, you got to play the game to get
Right.
her and to get him,
Right.
and then in Egypt, yeah, everything, just all that just fell off, and we were
Mm,
reintroduced somehow, like renewed, and it
mm.
was a past life of ours there as well, so it was very significant.
Wow. Wow. And so then you knew at that point you were going to have children and kind of live out your life together.
Yes, I honestly, because we had that date and then we didn't really have contact after, I
Yeah.
didn't want to hold on to it too much. So both of us, we kind of just let it go. And then once it did happen in Egypt, once we connected romantically, we did feel like this was super magical and
Mm.
profound. So yeah, I was ready for children. I think he took maybe 2 years into the relationship to really be ready for children, because he needs, he thinks about the finances and all the responsibilities, and
Right. Right.
so
Which is responsible for a man, you know, like it's much easier to have that versus not, because then as a woman, you know, we can get worried, or we don't feel as comfortable, you know what I mean, if
yeah.
you're not prepared sometimes in that way, which I think is also one of the good reasons why men need to get prepared too. So it sounds like he was preparing to have children
Yeah.
with you as well. That's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And then did you guys get pregnant? Like how did you get pregnant with your son? Was that like a conscious, or was it a planned,
Mhm.
or
Well, I always said as a teenager that I want to be a mom at 24. So for
mm,
sure, you know what I mean? I was connected with my spirit babies, but not consciously,
right.
But the timeline was already set. And so I always felt, okay, I'll be 24, I'll be a mom by the age of 24. And at 23, I got pregnant like shortly after
Mm.
my birthday. I got pregnant, and then it was a miscarriage because it was during my juice cleanse that
Oh,
I got pregnant. And it was like the first time we decided to, you know, release the babies into me for the first time instead of like do it on the outside. But
right,
that was the first time we decided that, and then it instantly worked, but it was during a juice cleanse where I was detoxing a lot. It was my
right.
first intense juice cleanse. And so then I was already connected, but then we had another miscarriage in Florida, in our
Mm.
RV.
Mm.
And that was, I think, like 3 months before I got pregnant again with Ile. And we
Mm.
truly believe that it was also the right timing. So I was 24 by the time I got pregnant. And it was also interesting because, we don't fully believe, we don't need papers to be validated, that we're married or something like that. But
Right.
something in us still wanted to just be married also legally in the system because you know what?
Hmm.
We are as natural as we are and
Mm.
as holistic we live, we still live in the system. We deal with money, we deal with social media, all
Hmm.
these things.
Hmm. Hmm.
So certain purposes, because of these purposes, we wanted to get married. So we got married in January, and a couple days later I got pregnant. And so
Mm.
that's also something probably that, was divinely guided. And
Right.
yeah, we did want to get pregnant at that time because after the first pregnancy, we were like, okay, maybe it's not the time now, but we're gonna try again later. And
Mm.
it was perfect because I wouldn't want to have my pregnancy in Switzerland or be in Florida. Honestly, we didn't want to birth in America personally. And,
Right.
it was just his plan to go to Brazil and be born
Yeah.
there, 7 suits. Yeah.
Wow, wow. And so like where did Brazil come? Like how did that happen in the timeline? Were you in Florida then you're like, we're going to Brazil or like how does that come in from Florida to Brazil?
I know. Well, we always wanted to start our South American travels
Hmm.
and be around Latin America. Um, the first stop was Florida because my husband is from Florida. So we thought, okay, let's just start in Florida and travel with an RV across the states, like go to California and, the Redwoods and
Oh
maybe
yeah.
Boston. That's where I grew up in, and like different areas of the states. And then when I got pregnant, somehow we were like, well, I don't know, I don't really want to have a child here
Mm.
because it was just I don't know, the energy. I'm sure Hawaii is different, but because I do feel attracted to Hawaii,
Right.
so
Right.
I'm
It
sure
doesn't
the
feel like
energy.
the US here at all.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure it's very different.
Hmm.
So, but we just didn't want to be there because he obviously didn't want to be born there. So eventually I saw a post on Instagram, and it was this couple that would host a retreat. And apparently online they're very like fruitarian and high raw. I thought they were like fully raw, fully fruitarian because that's what they promote. And I
Yeah.
thought, okay, this is going to be like a raw retreat, fruitarian retreat with some yoga and actually plant medicine, ayahuasca. And the plant medicine has been calling me since I was 16 as well. And I thought,
Mm.
okay, cool, I'll just let it come to me, and didn't search actively for it. So I randomly send my husband this post, like this post that they did. And honestly, normally he would just like it or just be like, oh, cool, yeah, maybe one day. And so surprisingly, he just said, let's go. I was so surprised because honestly, we paid, I think, $6,500 for this retreat,
Wow.
which for us, we just bought an RV, which was like 23,000, and now we have to like go to this retreat. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know, it was
yeah.
a lot. So yeah, something just pulled us there, and I just trusted him, and I was like, oh, you want to go? Well, let's go. Okay.
Hmm.
So by the time I got pregnant, we thought, excuse me, we thought, well, now what do we do? Do we stay here? Do we go to Brazil? And we already signed like a contract for this retreat so that we can pay them in parts, like
Increments.
not all at
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And we signed it and we're like, well, we already signed it. And we kept going back and forth with them, going
Yeah.
on calls and we're like, well, we're still deciding. We don't know. And it was this back and forth. And then eventually we just decided to go and leave it behind. And I was going to get my American citizenship actually also. And one day before the flight to Brazil, we received the letter where they're welcoming me to the, to the office to become an American citizen so that I can get my citizenship.
Right.
But then we decided to go to Brazil instead of get my American citizenship. So yeah,
Whoa.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
where are you originally from?
I was born in Switzerland, in Zurich,
Okay.
and my grandmother, my father, he's half Swiss, half Mexican Spanish, and my mother, she's Ukrainian. So yeah, so like
Yeah.
Ukrainian, Mexican, Swiss, and Spanish. But my upbringing, I would say, was half in Boston in Massachusetts, and then half in
Mm.
Switzerland. So my
Okay.
childhood I had in the States.
Yeah, that's really unique. Wow. So then you go to Brazil. You said we're going to Brazil. You get there, and then how is Brazil for you?
Wow. Honestly, I never felt attracted to Brazil. I didn't even know anything about Brazil. I just pictured these half naked women
Right,
dancing on the
right.
street with feathers, and I'm like, what is this? Like, what is this culture? And I honestly, the language used to trigger me,
Mm,
which is so weird. I think,
right.
I mean, for sure it's from a past life, but the language was very triggering. And just like Italian, it would trigger me also. Now I don't have that anymore, but
That's so funny.
back then it definitely did. And I feel like it's maybe also part of the colonization that I
Mm.
experienced in past life. Um, so how, sorry, where was, and now I'm going to the colonization. Oh
No, no,
gosh.
you're good. You're good. I'll bring you back. No. So how is it going to Brazil then? So you went to Brazil, you're pregnant. How far
Yes,
along are
yes.
you at this moment?
I was 1 month pregnant. I
Okay.
was 1 month pregnant, and Um, at the time, I honestly, I did have cravings
Mm-hmm.
because it was starting to get very emotional for me. And I
Mm.
did have cravings for cooked foods
Yeah.
from the Ukraine or like Mexican
Oh yeah.
food, Swiss food, um, Japanese food, just because, we ate a lot of sushi when I was growing
Mm-hmm.
up as a
Mm-hmm.
child. So I honestly didn't know what to do with myself, and I tried so hard to drink the green juice, and I would
Right.
have green juice, and I would
Right.
have the only juice I could drink was like orange juice
Okay.
and coconut water.
Got it.
Anything else was just really disgusting. So in Brazil, everything was so new, right?
Mm.
I didn't, I was never in Brazil. So the first impression is obviously, wow, this is amazing. I love this energy here. This
Yeah,
is,
yeah.
wow, the most beautiful weather. The sky was so blue, and the greenery was just so neon green,
Right.
and just vast nature, just because the area that we chose to be in because of this mini retreat, it was completely in nature. It was
Mm.
very rural and very, um, I would say just not advanced at all. I mean, if
Right.
if you go there, the area is not advanced, so you feel like you're in the beginning of the world somehow. And that was nice though, because it felt more less like you're not really in the system there.
Mm.
I just felt supernatural. I felt like I can leave the city behind, leave the system, and
Mm.
just be in this little bubble of pregnancy. And
Mm.
we were deciding, okay, where should we go next? Because we didn't know where the birth was going to be. And we thought we were going to keep traveling maybe to Ecuador, Peru, Mexico.
Right.
And after the retreat, we knew that after the retreat, we're going to stay a little bit more because we're not just going to stay here for 7 days. We're going to keep exploring this area. So we stayed there for another month. And after about 2 months, we were, contemplating staying here or going. And eventually, we go on a walk on a rainy day and we reach this beautiful heart on
Mm.
this big meadow with a beautiful river. And we decide, well, our son says, just
Yeah.
stay right here. This is perfect. And
Mm.
actually, the where the retreat was more in like a little touristy town. And
Mm.
how we got to the place that we actually stayed at was by me searching for people to get us to the Amazon because I really wanted to go to the Amazon. And I was even thinking, like, wow, imagine giving birth in the Amazon, or imagine just going to the Amazon, making a documentary, for some
Right.
music videos and helping
Right.
these people send their message across. And I was constantly just messaging people, hey, we want to go to the Amazon. How can we get there? And so we meet this couple, and this couple lived at that area, and they just had a baby, a 3-month old,
Oh.
and yeah, and they kind of messaged us back like, hey, let's meet up. So we meet up in this touristy town, which is like 35 minutes away from our birthplace and our community
Mm.
center, our family, I would say.
Yeah.
And they say, oh, you're pregnant. No, I wouldn't go to the Amazon just because it's such a long way, bumpy rides, etc. We decide to not go. And they invite us over to their house one day.
Mm. Mm.
And I instantly fell in love with the area. It was so magical. And I don't know, because it's so rural there, it's so wild
Yeah.
there and untouched and very basic, but so beautiful. The energy is so pure, and
Mm.
there's just a beautiful portal. And actually, that's the place where so many women across the world and the whole country of Brazil go to birth their babies.
Mm.
Because it's a famous place.
Yeah.
Because also I truly believe, yes, it's the energy there, the portal. I think that's the main reason. But also this woman that is like an elder, and she's a
Mm-hmm.
midwife.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, she practices midwifery in a very, I would say, by blood tests and ultrasounds, but she's
Right.
a famous midwife still, and she chose to be in this area. So she obviously got the message that this is strong portal to give birth in. So just because of her, so many women go there, and we didn't
Mm.
even know this movie. I think we just felt
Yeah.
the presence of the portal. So
Right.
I get there and it's magical, and we ended up, getting their house that they lived in because they said, well, we're going away in 3 months.
Mm.
So about like 5 months into the pregnancy, we just, they left to their home, which was more in the middle of the country, and we moved into that house that I fell in love with, and I was like, okay, this is it. This is perfect.
Mm. 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 Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Wow. And I'm gonna take it back just like a second because I think a lot of women would want to hear this about cravings because um I love that you're sharing about having cravings from when you were a kid, and I always tell the moms and stuff, they'll have these cravings. And I'm like, well, a lot of the time is when you're a child. And it's like that there's something emotionally attached to you and that food, right? And so when we feel that during pregnancy, if we haven't worked through certain emotions, we'll have the cravings to actually help us resolve what it is that we're feeling inside. Did you have that correlation when you were pregnant? Like, did you have the craving, or did you end up just not having it and then still have the memory and emotion? Like, what was that like for you?
It was so intense, honestly. So pregnancy is such a vulnerable time, and it's time to be in community. It's time to be with your family. It's so tribal because it does take a village, and we used to
Totally.
definitely live in villages and take care of these children together, especially with your sisters, with your
Mm-hmm.
mother, your grandmother, even your great grandmother. So I didn't have that. I was completely,
Mm,
shut out of my blood family to protect my peace
mm,
and my baby's peace and my pregnancy, my marriage, um, and just to manifest a beautiful life that I've always envisioned. And I noticed my life is amazing when I'm not in contact with these people.
mm,
I did have contact with my grandmother, and I still do, and she's my everything.
mm.
Um, but I still didn't want to tell her that I'm pregnant just because she also has her own her own fears and worries,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I just didn't want that in my energy field. So
totally.
I yeah, so I didn't have that, and I believe that I was having these intense cravings also because I wasn't in contact with anyone really, and no one in my family knew that I was pregnant. So these
Wow.
cravings were so intense. I didn't have
Mm,
any friends. Thankfully, in Brazil, once we got the house and once we started, you know, connecting with our soul family, our tribe, that's when I felt comfortable again to be fruitarian. And before
mm,
that, I would say
mm.
the first month, I even did like a little juice cleanse. I did some coconut fest like cleanses, and yeah, and was raw like, with lots of fruit. But then month two, month three, month four, I definitely had like fruit, and then I would have cooked food. I
Yeah.
would just want, but vegan. It was all vegan, but I
Yeah. Yeah.
still would want potatoes, and I did
Mm-hmm.
do it just because I just couldn't handle it. I was in a country where honestly, even the people in the retreat,
Yeah.
the ones that were leading it, they were triggered by me.
Mm.
Just for being how I am and for, having certain wisdom. Sometimes you attract people into your life that remind you of your parents
Oh
so
yeah.
that you can also realize like, oh, wait a minute, I'm still attracting these people. Well, I must not have healed certain things, right?
Right.
So yeah, that's what was happening in the retreat as well.
Wow.
It was kind of crazy. And I remember there was this full moon and I was having these cravings, and we were in Brazil 2 months pregnant, and it was this very strong full moon, which was very healing, I would say, for everyone, and bringing up triggers. And I remember all these people from the retreat, and including my uncle at the time,
Mm,
that I was sent photos to so he could show my grandma. They
mm,
were so mean to me, and I was pregnant, and I was so vulnerable.
mm,
I was so emotional. I was like, why I'm
mm.
pregnant? And no, like everyone's like, it's just really intense. And I'm like, let's just go get the vegan gluten-free pancakes with jam.
Right.
And I mean, I was grateful that they had a lot of artisanal
Yeah.
things there, so I did make sure that I wasn't eating like the junk food vegan things. They
Right.
didn't
Right.
have that many options there anyways, because it's
Right.
it's not Miami, it's not LA, it's more simple vegan things, but it's still cooked and it still had salt, and but I
Yeah.
would also notice the difference. And once I was in that house with my community, I was like, wow, oh my gosh, I'm ready now to, and I instantly, just like that, was fruitarian, and I was just having a bunch of fruit. Still
Mm,
couldn't have watermelon, but I was just having a bunch of fruit and juice and coconut water.
nice.
Sometimes I would have some seeds and nuts, and for some reason, I just didn't feel called to have salad.
Mm,
I just didn't want any salad. I don't know.
yeah. Yeah.
And I never followed that. I wasn't scared or anything.
Right, right, right. And I think a lot of women, that's a lot of questions that they talk about is like, what do I do with the cravings? Can I even
Yeah.
do this in a raw vegan way or fruit-based way? Like I know even my two different um, raw vegan pregnancies, like my first was like so much fruit, so much monomealine, and literally like green juices and grapefruit juices, but it was very specific. Like I couldn't mix things together. But then my second one, which is, it's so funny because we're talking about Brazil, I literally would have so much acai. Like this boy wanted me to eat acai like crazy. And I'm like, dude, do I need some antioxidants or what's going on? Like I was craving, and I was actually craving more fats. I was craving,
Yeah.
more sprouted seeds and more sprouted nuts. I would make like, like a soaked mac nut dressing. And I was like, yes, I'm going to do this. Like it felt good and it felt nourishing for my body at that time. But I see the difference actually in the child on what they want and how they eat now based off what I was eating in my pregnancy. Like my first pregnancy with my daughter, she's like a quadruple cancer, and she loves food, she loves taste, she loves nice things. And when I was pregnant, I was like, I mean, that's when I wasn't raw vegan. I didn't transition yet at all. And so I was eating like everything, and I would have cravings for things that my husband ate as a kid. And I'm like, I
Oh,
don't
me
even,
too.
yeah. I'm like, I don't even
Me
know what
too.
this is. I'm like, what is this? And he's like, oh,
Yeah.
I used to eat that as a kid. I'm like, well, our baby, your baby is craving what you used to eat as a kid, you know?
Yeah.
And so I feel like sometimes it has to like ignite some kind of ancestral, or maybe it was in with before he cleaned up too, so it's
Yeah.
like these memories and emotions are also in the DNA. And so they're feeling it too. Or maybe she had a past life in that country. Because my husband is Italian and Spanish, but like 95% Rome, grew up in Argentina, but then grew up
Mhm.
in Brazil for 12 years. So we have that Brazilian connection.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting how that works, and with the pregnancies. And I want to share something to the women here that are watching this, because people ask me this all the time, is that, don't get on yourself if you do have to have cooked foods, or if you do have that craving and you do it. There's nothing wrong, you know what I mean? I think it's worse to be really horrible to yourself and to make yourself feel bad for something that you ate versus not, and I'm not saying go out and eat like ice cream and pizza and pickles on top of each other. I think that you should look at those feelings and say, what am I trying to numb right now? Like you were very aware, like I'm feeling alone. I want, I don't have my family here, you know. But I think having that awareness is really smart, but then also like not getting down on yourself, and then just yeah. So
Can I ask you something real quick? So
yeah.
when you were having those cravings, did he already do his cleansing or not yet?
Um, when I met my husband, so he was already raw. He was raw for
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah, I remember you said that. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he was raw for like 8 months. And I met him and I was like, what's this guy want to do with me? I'm like living in Los Angeles in a completely different world. But he saw me, and I was going through my awakening process. So he saw like where I was going. He was really aware of that. And so um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, he was the one who kind of pushed me, like when my daughter was 1 years old, because I was vegan and I was vegetarian, but I couldn't do cooked vegan for so long. I just didn't
Mm-hmm.
feel, I felt so tired, and I felt probably I was mixing way too many things, from starches to fats to everything mixed together, like I loved Indian food, you know. And once I switched to go raw, like everything changed, and so that's why I think it took me, like 2 years to really go through the process, because I'm going to be 42 in like a week. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm not 26, right? So I had to go through like 30 years of like eating whatever I wanted. I was like cafe queen in Los Angeles, all the yummy cafes. You don't cook food, you go to cafe after cafe and you meet friends.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So it was different. But then with my son, I didn't have a lot of cravings with him. He was and he still is, he's a very much like you know, strong, this is the way it is, I want this, like, it's just it's just his personality, and it was really cute. I wanted to show you a video. I saw that video of your son who
Mhm.
about being a monk in a past life, and my son
Yeah.
used to only want to wear my daughter's, literally her, like, I gotta find a picture of this. It's her
Mhm.
purple kind of maroon dress, and he would
Mhm.
put a sash over it all the time.
Wow.
And he'd always wear it, and he has like really curly hair, so he looked like, like Curly Sue, like a little girl with this like dress
Oh
on.
my
But
gosh.
he just wanted to wear that dress. And I was like, okay, like, our kids are really aware, and they're so connected to their past lives when they're young, that they know, and it feels normal to them.
Yeah.
It feels right, so I love that you guys are honoring and observing and being aware of his
Mhm.
behaviors and what he's, showing, but also like probably what he's asking for, you know and I think that's a
Absolutely.
huge part of, being a conscious parent, is like listening and being aware of who your children are, and how you can support them.
Yeah. I mean, I even when I was in my like in my early 20s, and this might sound so funny to you, but just in my very early 20s,
Yeah.
like 2021, I even felt, oh, maybe one day I'll be a monk. So maybe it is also in our ancestry, and
Right.
then in his past life, or maybe we're tuning into the future. We were also talking about it would be so awesome to do something like that as a family, to experience that. That would be
Yeah.
so cool. So who
Yeah.
knows?
Who knows? We'll see. We'll see. So I'd love to jump into your birth story, if you want to
Mhm.
share a little bit about that, or whatever you feel comfortable sharing.
So my birth story, where do I start? So when actually, we had a beautiful homemade meal, which is interesting because maybe 14 days before my birth, I started to crave spicy stuff, which
Mm-hmm.
helps to birth. And the whole pregnancy, I didn't want anything spicy
Mm-hmm.
or intensely with any spices in general. So I would crave a lot of spices. I would start to eat very spicy things actually. And I remember my husband, when things get a little bit uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
this is my husband kind of has this way of, okay, I'm very uncomfortable now, so he kind of resorts sometimes to like more comfort, which is a lot of the cooked food is like the comfort
Mm-hmm.
zone, sort of, when
Yeah.
you aren't comfortable yet being uncomfortable. And at that time, he would do that sometimes. And so I think he was definitely tuning into the baby being
Mm-hmm.
born soon. So he was like, let's let me make something, let me cook something. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just if you really want to do it, just do no oil, no salt, no spices. And he made this raw, this cooked um lasagna made with zucchini and a bunch of
Nice.
vegetables.
Nice.
And it was actually really good, and very nourishing, I would say. So I ate that and thinking, this is just another night, and my friend, my soul sister, actually, she was there for the birth as well. I just wanted to have her there, her energy. And
Mm-hmm.
she painted us this beautiful picture with a shell, and inside the shell was our baby Ile. And so at the time we had a cat that adopted us. And during our dinner, when we were done eating, we wanted to go upstairs and we were just talking. And I just noticed our cat Mooney staring at that picture. She was just staring at it and like not taking her eyes off of it. I was like, interesting. And I'm like, maybe he's coming soon, like maybe tomorrow. But
Mm.
because I I don't know. I just didn't want to jinx it. I kept it neutral. So we go to bed, and right before going to bed, my soul sister comes and she's like, "It's the moon phase. This is the moon
Mm,
phase. Did you see the
mm-hmm.
moon? I think he's coming." And I'm like, "Really? I don't know." Like, I don't know. I guess, you know, I wasn't fully in that mindset of he's coming. I thought he was gonna take his time just because my mind wanted him to come on in September, end of September, but he ended up coming middle of October, and it taught me that my mind can't, you know, I can't control this. I need to also surrender to the birth date. I was surrendering
Right.
to everything but the birth date. So, and then in that moment, I'm like, obviously, I can't control it. So that's why I just let it go, and I thought,
Mm-hmm.
whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to sleep, and then, you know, I start trickling a little bit, and I get up. I thought maybe I just peed a little bit. Go pee, go back to sleep. It happens again. I thought, okay, again, maybe this is, you know, the water breaking.
Right.
But I go back to sleep again, but I instantly get up after maybe 10 minutes going back to sleep the second time, and more water comes, and I'm like, okay, it's time.
Right.
So I started to have the waves. I don't like to say contractions just because I feel like it's a
Right.
con, and it's this energy
Right.
around this word is so negative. I feel like, honestly,
Yeah.
like it hurts and stuff like that. So I call it
Right.
waves. We're the ocean, right? So
Yeah.
we're in coming in waves, big waves, small
Yep.
waves, whatever.
Yep.
And we got to go with the waves. So um, the waves were coming, and they were enhancing very fast and rapidly
Mm.
because you know how a lot of women, when they start giving birth, they have, I forgot this term, but it's like the first phase, second, third. You
Yep.
know what
Yep.
is
And the
that called again?
transition. Um,
Yeah, like you start to have some a little bit, but you can still walk around, and then you can
yeah.
still move.
Yeah.
And then in the active birthing, I also don't like to say labor. I like to say birthing.
Right.
Then you feel it mostly. And for me, I didn't even have that. I just straight in went into birthing just
Right.
because, like, maybe 7 days before the actual birth, I had the second phase. And then 7 days before that, I
Mm.
had the first phase without even
Okay.
knowing. So I went into birthing basically, but I already had the first phase 2 weeks before his birth.
You were having the
Um,
Braxton Hicks and like the preparing
no,
of the
no,
body.
no, it wasn't Braxton Hicks. It was literally because I would have Braxton Hicks, but
Right.
I would have one day where I was literally having the first phase of the actual birthing process.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's why we were a little confused. I wasn't confused. I knew what was I knew what was going on, but my husband was like, "Are you giving birth?" And I'm like, "No, no, I'm just preparing." You know,
Right.
it because the Braxton Hicks, they're different. You can, you know,
Oh
the
yeah.
Braxton Hicks is like all the, like you just get them, and you know, you keep going on with your life.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
this was like, no, I'm actually birthing right now. But then 1 week later, I had the
Mm,
second phase, which usually women do on the same day of giving birth.
right.
And so on the second phase, I remember I was just on the bed, and like my head was down, and I was just constantly moving around, and I was like making
Right.
some sounds, and that was just nice to me. And he thought, well, are you giving birth now? I'm like, no, I'm not gonna give birth today, but this I'm preparing. So I have,
Wow.
yeah, I have never heard of anyone do it like that. I don't, it's interesting that it happened in 3 phases, which
Yeah.
is also interesting because he was the third pregnancy that worked out.
Mm,
And so yeah, then basically I start going straight into birth, and it was like in the night. And for me, I didn't have any thoughts really. I didn't feel like being fearful, or like I needed
right.
any help. I just knew that I wanted my husband to be present, and
Mm,
I
mm-hmm.
constantly would trust my body and God and my child to know
Mm,
exactly how to come out. And I would also talk to my baby a lot of times in the womb. I'm like, you know how to, you know exactly what you're doing. I trust you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can put your head down first if you feel like it. That would be optimal. And
Please
and
do
I would
that.
just,
Make it easy.
yeah,
Not
yeah,
posterior. Thank you.
yes, yes. And I would just, I don't know, I was just there with candles. We didn't have electricity, so we didn't have any warm water. We didn't
Mm,
have any light, which was perfect. It was no Wi-Fi, so it was a perfect time for him to come onto Earth because we didn't have the electricity. I don't know if you
mm.
ever noticed, but if you don't have Wi-Fi or electricity in your house, it seems way calmer. It's like almost like silent, especially when you're in
Yes.
nature, right? It's that feeling
Yes.
of calmness and silence because there's no
Right. There's
zzz,
no
electricity.
buzzing. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And so I'm so grateful that he chose that time because it also made it easier for me to give birth and for him. He wanted that silence and it was perfect for us
Mm,
to do it. And my husband eventually, so because my birth was 5 hours,
yeah.
like exactly 5 hours. And
Amazing.
so at the end, towards the end, he would hold me up because I just felt called to squat and my legs, my legs after like 5 hours, I was like, what the,
Right.
hold me. And I was just
Right,
saying,
right,
hold me.
right.
And he was
Right. They
holding me up.
shaking when
They
you're
were kind
squatting
of,
for so long.
well, honestly, they weren't shaking during the birth. They only shook after when I was
Yes.
done with everything, just because, the body's so smart and strong that
Yep.
the
Yep.
adrenaline and everything, they know you can't shake right now. You're giving birth,
Right, 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 right.
So, but it was so wonderful. Honestly, I love the experience and I'm so excited to experience it again
Oh,
because I love to have these different stories in life and to know this is
yeah.
how the first one went, the second and so on. But I would say my birth was definitely transforming for myself. It was easy. I had a no tear birth.
Beautiful.
I I also actually threw up right in the beginning when the
Mm,
waves started coming quicker and quicker and more intense.
yeah.
Um, I threw up all that cooked food my husband made. So I was literally in a very clear state, and I was happy that that happened because when you take plant medicine like ayahuasca, you throw up because it wants to be alone with only you and
Yeah.
consciousness, right? So that you're fully clear and pure. Because the same thing, it's like when you do a dry fast or a water fast, even a juice cleanse at times,
Yeah.
it's you're in complete receptivity and focus and clarity. And that's what I think my son really wanted, for me to be in full clarity of my body and God and Gaia and my son.
Right.
So I did do that. And then in between, I sometimes would have like some watermelon pieces when I felt very tired, just because it was in the middle of the night. I would sometimes feel tired, and then I would get a little piece of watermelon and a very small amount of dark ceremonial cacao with a little bit of honey on top.
Mm,
And that really helped me. That helped me so much to like regain energy in the middle of the night. Um, I mean, what else? Sometimes I forget. Sometimes certain
yeah,
things are
yeah.
so self like obvious, but
Right,
you know,
right,
a
right.
lot
Well,
of
you're
times it's not obvious. But I think one more thing that I remember is it didn't feel like pain. I think this is such an important topic that we don't call birthing labor, contraction, pain.
right, right, right,
It's
right.
birthing, it's waves, it's natural, and it's just a big sensation. It's just a beautiful sensation that, when we stub our toe or hit us
Yeah.
somehow, our elbow, the more we surrender to this sensation, the more we accept the feeling, and the
Mm,
more we get to fully love it. And when we love something, it kind of like disappears
Yes.
magically.
Yes.
So that's what was happening. Of course, it was intense at times, um, but I never associated it with a painful thing. When the crowning started, I've never felt anything like that. So
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, okay, the crowning is something, is a feeling that's a more intense feeling, but it was still so orgasmic in a different way. I wouldn't say for me it wasn't like an orgasm like in the bedroom with my husband, but
Right.
it was an orgasm for itself and a different type, because there's so many different orgasms. I mean, there are
Right.
laugh
Right.
orgasms where you actually orgasm down there, but instead of feeling it in a typical way how people know it, you just laugh, you burst out
Yes.
laughing.
Yes.
I remember I had that intense laughter, and it was like, wow, I've never laughed so intensely. And or you cry, and
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
like an
Yeah. Yeah.
orgasm, right?
Totally. Well,
Or you
they like,
scream.
yeah, yeah. Well, and I love that you're talking about this because, you feel sometimes how you felt when they came in. And what I mean is like how you were making love, like how that happened is like can be similar to how they come into this earth, And I love that you're saying the waves and the ocean and like I always call them like surges, you know what I mean? Like it's just like a surge of energy and it's like as you open up and you allow that energy to fill your body, it just fills you versus like what I mean, I definitely know I've seen women be in actual pain and they're like, stop this freaking pain! Like, because there's like a constriction, because there's a message that they're not wanting to hear. And I felt that on my first pregnancy. I remember my first birth, I looked at my husband and I was like, you're a shaman. Can you take away my pain right now? And he's like, I'm not going to give you the best medicine of your life. I'm not going to take that your empowerment away from you. He goes, go in the room and figure it out. And I literally had to sit with that pain. I know people would be like, he's an asshole, but he was being really supportive. He was like, no, you have to do this. You have to do this. And I sat in a room alone and I had to face the pain. You have to face what you are seeing or perceiving as the pain in your body. What is the message that it wants to tell you? And for me at that moment, it was like, you have too many expectations on me, mommy. You want this, 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 and this, and this. But what about me? What do I want? And when I let that go, and when I started like actually bringing more love to myself and started not being so much in my head, then it released and the pain released. And then all of a sudden this surge of energy came. And then the birth was so different, and like even with her, that pain that I did have for 36 hours, or not even 36 hours, but when I got into actually birthing her, it wasn't painful. I was singing Johnny Cash Ring of Fire and I was laughing and I was like, what? Like this is cool, it was just like I was telling my daughter too, it was funny, I was telling her, I'm like, what is playing at your birth really matters. I'm like, I was singing Ring of Fire to you, and it like resonates with my second. I didn't have any music because it was so damn fast. I didn't have time to think at all. Like there was
Oh my
no
God.
thinking, there was no like, oh, like let me like work through this. It was like, no, stand up, go, baby's out. And I'm like, okay.
I love that. Honestly, ever since I've seen that video where you say that you had a 15-minute birth, I'm
Yeah.
like, this is my goal. I was like, this is my goal. I want to have a 15-minute birth.
Yeah, I
But
mean
of course,
it
I
was
can't control
awesome.
it. So,
It was awesome, but I really think it was my redemption birth. I did so much work. I mean, like so much work for those 2 years. And even during that pregnancy with him, like he was putting me through it, like getting me to like those places where I could really be opening in that way. And so when I had him, and it was laughing. I love that you said laughter because it was like I was laughing. I was like we were making poop jokes and laughing when he's coming out, and it's just amazing how different, births can be and how it is for that soul of that child, like my third son, I think, is the most I don't want to say, it sounds so bad, but he is the most like this. He's really calm, he's really centered, nothing bothers him, he can go do his own thing. And I was very much like that in my own pregnancy too with him. And so when I had him, my I told my husband to put some music on. I said, put some meditation music on because I can feel the surges coming, and I was like, okay, I'll go clock them, I'll just go sit on the toilet and then just kind of breathe them into my body. And I told him to put meditation. He puts on this like Tibetan monk stuff, and it was like,
Mhm.
I swear to God, it was like this, like, and I was like, shut that shit off, give me Mother Mary right now, babe. And literally, he was laughing, and I gave birth to him through like Mother Mary chants, and I was like, that wasn't his vibe. But it broke my water though. Like that deep guttural, like,
Yeah.
it was almost like
Yeah.
it was like a didgeridoo, like in my womb,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
you know? And
Oh my God.
yeah, it was just interesting because I'm not a singer like you. I'm sure you were probably singing your baby out. I was like, I, I told my husband when he came out, when my third son came out, like, again, there was no pain, but there was definitely a surge, and I was like, oh, fuck me, excuse
Yeah.
me,
Yeah.
don't cut our live off. And my daughter goes, you said the F word, mommy, and your butt's gonna explode. And I'm like, get the baby, come on.
That is crazy. I love that story. I love how unique it is. I love
Yeah,
that. That's so, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for that. Like to just
yeah.
have my son there as well. And
Oh yeah,
it's
I think you're
different.
gonna have such I mean, do you guys want to get pregnant again soon, or like,
We,
or what
um,
are you guys?
we don't know. I mean, I'm feeling the baby's for sure very present, but I'm going to see very intuitively. I'm not feeling it quite yet,
Yeah, yeah,
but I'm still feeling the babies. Like we're in constant communication and they're definitely guiding us to the places where we need to be.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
but actually the what you said about the sound, like the guy, it reminded me of in the in the birth,
yeah.
we had a playlist because I made like a Ile Yahweh playlist for him
Mm,
during the birth and we played that. And I remember I was in the waves and this song came on which was so like dramatic. It was like boom 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 like a whole army of soldiers like
yeah,
all the indigenous tribes are coming and it was so intense. I felt like in this like I was in some kind of movie. I'm like, "Oh my
right.
God, turn this music. This is too intense." But
Yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
like you said, it was perfect because it had to be felt the intensity and the almost
Mhm.
this dramatic energy that was very intense because after that it calmed down into like this nice
Mm,
peaceful more energy because honestly when I thought like when I imagined myself giving birth I thought that I wouldn't be as you know vocal. I didn't think that I would be so intense because I personally I feel like I was pretty intense with my voice.
mhm.
Whereas I thought I would just be like super calm. I thought I was gonna just meditate and just burst it out like this.
Me too.
So yeah.
And so
But
you
it
were
was
just,
still beautiful.
but you were singing. You were like, and they say that the more you sing and you open your mouth up, it's
Yeah.
easier to get the baby out. I mean, I know, okay, this is going to sound so silly, but I know midwives who tell me this story about literally like the mom is not opening up and they're like, go and take care of your husband. Because when you do that,
Oh,
it's going to open up you and it's going to
wow.
activate the the surges.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, yeah, so the more you open, like, so when you're singing, it makes
Yeah.
sense.
No,
It
I
makes
was like
sense.
at first I was doing like very low, like low tone voice, grunches, and then in the middle it became a little bit more like chest voice. And then once he was crowning, I was like I was opera singing. I was like, oh, it's like the light is coming in, seeing the
Oh
godly
my gosh.
light.
I love that. I love
It
that.
was so funny.
That's a fun noise. I don't even like how to do that again. Do that noise again. It does sound like an opera.
Well, it is opera. I
Yeah.
sing opera,
Oh,
and
you do.
yes, yes, yes. I'm like when I was little, when I was a very young girl, like 6, 7, I started singing opera, and no one took it serious but my grandma and my grandpa,
Oh.
especially my grandma. And she was like, "You're an opera singer," like, and she would tell the whole family. She's like, "You look, 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 show them your opera singing." And I was so shy at the moment at the time
Mm.
because I feel like when you don't take it serious, people don't take it serious. And I noticed in my teenagehood and in my early 20s, when I would sing opera to my husband or to my friends, people would just laugh. And
Mm.
it can trigger a laugh because the
Right,
frequency
right,
is
right.
very high, and it's like tingling almost
Yeah,
to
yeah.
other people. But if you really listen and tune into that frequency, it's actually a very like godly frequency just because it's very high. This opera, and it's just a different energy. It's more in the sky rather than in the
Right.
earth. And so once I started taking it seriously, people are like, "Wow, you're an opera singer," rather than, just being like, "Haha, you're so funny," and that
Right,
kind of.
right,
So
right. That's
yeah, so that
beautiful.
was.
It's not easy to do opera. That's a
Yeah,
really good
I
gift. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I just
It's
was
it's
born with it somehow.
you had a past life, you're an opera singer and you're bringing it here.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I know you have family as well, and I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I'd love to hear kind of like what you guys are up to now. I know you're in Thailand and you're going back to Brazil, and how are you like supporting people? Like what is your guys' jam right now?
You mean what we're offering to people?
Yeah, yeah, how you're supporting people. Yeah.
Yes, I love that, supporting people, yeah. Well, the way we're supporting people, well, for instance, my husband, he is here to receive people through, detoxing or wanting to become raw vegan, or
Cool.
just in general, even if someone wants to be more in the fruit lifestyle or in the raw lifestyle. So
Yeah.
anything that has to do with veganism and raw veganism, he supports people through that and through that
Nice.
journey of
Nice.
detoxification and healing like that. And for me personally, I'm offering my books and my masterclass that is coming up. My book is coming out on August 7th, which I'm very
Yay.
excited about. It's a very, very healing book. When I was writing it, it feels
Mm.
like a channeling, like a pure channeling. This was not my mind that was writing, but
Yeah.
just God, Mother Mary, Jesus Christ. It was just
Yeah.
very magical. Once I read it, I realize a lot of things that
Mm.
have healed me through that book. So I'm excited for
Beautiful.
other people to heal as well through the book. And
Yay.
yeah, and the master class, of course, that's coming up as well in August. I think a
Mm.
little later than my book. I offer womb blessings, which has its own, I guess, womb blessings are not quite like a baby shower. It's a little bit more
Mm.
ceremonial and
Mhm.
ritualistic. Here to bless the womb, bless the baby, bless the birth that is coming in a very ceremonial setting with flower baths, herbal baths,
Oh, beautiful.
prayers, hymns, chanting, and using my shamanic drum. I know a
Nice.
lot of people actually ask me, I'm raw vegan, but I still have a shamanic drum, like why I do that.
Hmm.
But it's just something, honestly, in my ancestry that don't want to let go of. And I do believe that there are certain beings that sacrifice themselves for a greater purpose. I mean, Jesus
Mm,
Christ, literally,
mm,
great example. That's what
mm,
he did. You know, he sacrificed his life for a greater purpose than his own life.
right.
Um, and when this shamanic drum came to me, instantly it told me, I'm here to help you with your womb, with the womb blessings for the
Mm,
women couples to heal. So yeah,
beautiful.
that
And that's in person,
I
you said?
don't, sorry.
And that's in person. Or are they online too,
Yeah,
your
that's,
wing blessings?
I mean, I can't really give you a bath online. I mean, it would be
A
in
sound
person.
bath.
It can't, no, of course, we can do it online. I could
Right,
offer it
right,
online. I would
right,
suggest, flying in or flying me out just so we can do it in person, but
right.
which I like personally more, but of course, if someone wants to have it online, it's possible as well. And then of course, including our music, our music with Mama Maweh and with Ikawa, which are two different purposes. I would say we have two different purposes for that. So Mama Maweh is perfect for reprogramming the mind and for healing and to really detoxing any thoughts and patterns and habits out of your system so that we can also give a more free and loving birth and to even before conception start with that reprogramming. And then Ikawa is a duo with my husband and I, and there we, promote for the nature's rights, and we advocate for animals' rights, humans' rights, through music.
Oh,
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Thank
sharing
you.
that. And they can all find that like on a link or like do you have it on your
Yeah.
Instagram or do you have a website for that all?
No, they can just go on our Instagram bio. We have everything linked in there. So
Beautiful.
everything is there. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yay. Anything else you want to share or say before we go?
No, I'm just excited for the journey with all of us, and I'm so grateful for every single. My goodness, my. I was gonna say my soul is cracking up. My voice, the voice is the soul, kind of.
Yes. Yeah.
But I was gonna say yes, I'm very excited for the journey for all of us, and um, I know that if we come back home more and more, come back to the earth, the I would say to our roots, back to the roots, back to Mama, um, back to our healing. We will find a world, a earth that is more in peace and harmony and more in balance, and with honoring the divine feminine and having this nice balance of the divine masculine and feminine, which is very needed. So
Right.
I'm glad that everyone here, we're together and we're on this journey together. So thank you for that, for being here, and thank you for having me here. And I'm excited to meet you in person.
I know, me too. I'm excited for you to come here to Kauai as well because where we live
Yes.
is really magical. It's so interesting how synchronistic things are, you know? Like
Mhm.
we live in a place where they say that one of the portals are where all the souls come into Earth. There's a mountain here. And so it's very interesting how like you're living in one similar and then there's one over here and um these children they're guiding these pods. I call them like pods when I see them. They're like it's almost like a dolphin, like dolphin pods. And
Oh
these
yeah, yeah.
children, yeah, the souls of these children are in pods and they're in these certain places in the earth. And then they're asking certain people to come in to help usher them in to their place, you know? And so when you're holding those types of frequencies and that love and really like that mother energy of coming to yourself, it's so powerful, you know? It's like
Mhm.
we're doing something bigger than what our life can even imagine at this moment, you know? It's like I always say anything that we can do for our own children or for these children coming in, like we're setting the stage for what this earth is about to become, which I feel it's going to go through a massive Massive
Shifts.
transformation. Yeah, yeah. My daughter's been telling me since she was 4, she's like, Mommy, there's going to be a big gray cloud, and all the people that aren't connected with nature are going to go, and we're here to bring heaven on earth, and this is what has to happen. And I was like, what? Like
I
she
love
knows
that.
this.
I
She
love that
knows.
the fact that you said heaven on earth because
Yeah.
we just released a song. Well, not a couple of weeks ago, we released a song and it's called Sacrifice on Ikawa. And my husband sings, Heaven is a place on earth. Literally what you just said. And
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that. It's so
Yeah.
true.
Yeah, and she said
Oh,
that too. She said that this used to be heaven. And she said it stopped when people became afraid of nature, when they became afraid of
yes.
nature, and when they started killing animals, and the animals were no longer their friends, because then they all of a sudden started fearing the animals, and they had to put up, she goes, they had to put up cement and walls so they would be, away from nature. She's like, but that's not how we're supposed to live. She goes, Mom, the fruit trees used to be like triple the size, the flowers. And I'm like, oh, it's like Avatar. Like
Yeah.
and I
Yeah.
feel like that's where we're going. We're literally coming back to that
Absolutely.
place. The more people's hearts open to receive it. And people say, "Oh, people are ruining it." I'm like, "Well, they're not ruining it. They're at a place in their own consciousness where they can't receive the love from
Yeah.
nature. So it's too hard for them. It's so hard. That's why people can't go raw vegan or vegan, because it's hard for them to receive that love,
Yeah.
that love from nature. And like, what happens? Like, oh, I'm gonna feel things. Like,
I
do I
mean,
feel?
it's
Yeah,
like
go ahead.
complete connection with yourself, complete
Yeah.
connection with the nature. That's why, like our album, when I was pregnant and before my pregnancy, we did the album Back to Mama, which is
Mm,
what you said, going back to nature and
right.
truly being in your connection with the true self. And so many, yeah, people, I mean, I guess it is kind of scary to think sometimes you can be so powerful as a human when you're so connected to your true self,
Oh yeah.
because it means that we need to take responsibility for our life as creators. And this is
Right.
something I wrote in my book, that we have so much power. And when we accept the responsibility of that power, that's when we can fully thrive, because
Yeah.
we create our life.
Right.
Absolutely. And I love that your daughter is saying these things. I love when I hear children say things like that. It also, for me, it's like a big confirmation for my channelings. I'm like, well, I don't know, if the children are saying it, I mean, the children are our future. The children are the ones that are completely connected to
Yeah.
the source.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And they want to stay there too. Like my daughter's 10, and she's like, I don't want to be an adult. I want to stay young. And I'm like, you can stay young. The more you stay in nature, the more we don't put her, in places that where she's just being, she can't be herself, or getting her into malls or TVs or all those things. Like it changes the kids. It shifts
Yeah.
them out of that reality, you know what I mean? So it's beautiful when they can stay in that. And of course, if that's what their soul chooses, because every soul, every child's gonna, they're gonna go through their own process like we all did, and our awakening and our discovery and just honoring and loving them through it all. It's I want to share this one thing because I think this is really interesting. My son is going through a process. He's 6 right now, and he, like I said, he's got a lot of fire energy, super strong. He tells his feelings. He's not afraid to get mad, which I'm okay with him. Like if he has a feeling, he's like, that pissed you off, it pisses him off, and then he gets over it, right? And he's like, I love you. But he's learning now, like for some reason, I don't remember. Okay, when we did this like Lent journey for people where everyone was going vegan, and we were focusing on the 7 deadly sins. And
Mhm.
so, months later, all of a sudden he's like, Mommy, can you explain to me the 7 deadly sins and how it kills you to like have these characteristics? So I started sharing with him about that. I was like, okay, here, this is what wrath is, this is what gluttony is, blah, 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 blah. And so now he's like really thinking about it. He's like, Mom, he's having an actual repentance process of him saying, Mommy, I think I lied at this time. And it was like 3 years ago. So he's having these memories and emotions of him lying. And he's like, I'm so sorry I lied. Is this going to kill me? I'm like, I was like, babe, just, if you feel it in your heart that it wasn't truth, you can always apologize. And then I'm like, you got to love and forgive yourself now, and so
Mm.
he's genuinely going through this process of like repenting at 6 years old and understanding like what's going to happen to me if I'm lying to someone, what's going to happen to me if I have too much anger. So he's checking his anger now. He's like,
I love
oh,
that.
I'm angry. Yeah. I'm like, yeah, this is good. Like I think it's super important for kids to learn, like the consequences of their behaviors, but then also understanding where those behaviors are coming from inside of them, like sometimes they don't understand, like, what is that, and is that even mine, or am I feeling that from somebody else? And I'm just displaying it in order for them to see themselves, so there's so much going on. But I mean, I think in general, these children and what we're going through now and coming back to nature, it's really allowing the kids to be who they
Mm.
are, and I'm like watching him going through his process, and I'm like, oh man, do I need to repent right now? Like, am I doing this? Like, it's just they're such our teachers, and they're reminding us too of what we need to do as well. So yeah,
Absolutely. Learning from the children, yeah, just being able to accept that they are the teachers.
yeah,
That's a big one. That's a big one for so many people, I think.
yeah,
That's a very important thing, yeah.
totally, totally.
I
Oh,
love that. He's
yeah,
growing up so emotionally intelligent, so intelligent.
yeah, yeah.
Imagine what kind of world they're shaping. That's the future. That's the future. Wow.
Yeah, that's what we're here for, man. We gotta bring in the all that love and all that light.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, yep. Well, it was so good to talk to you and connect. I feel like we're on our own little portal right now, and we've just got people joining in, kind of watching our world
Yes, yes, yes,
unfold.
yes.
It's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I know it's what, like 10 o'clock for you now in the morning?
Yeah, like 10:30, yeah.
Nice, nice.
Mhm.
Beautiful. Well, enjoy your day in Thailand and
Thank you
enjoy
so much.
your week. And I'll share this for those who made it this long. I'll be posting this on this page, but then also I'll put it on YouTube, and we'll have some clips that we can share with people. And
Yeah,
yeah,
let's do it.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you so, so much.
You're
Enjoy
welcome.
your day as well. We'll hear from each other.
Yeah, sounds good. Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.